Yeah, so one thing that I think I've started to run into a little bit, and it's more probably just based on my schedule. So I'll go, in the evening to go get my workouts in. And I try to, make sure that I'm using efficient use of my time. So part of it for me is just balancing, like, all right, I'm not necessarily being able to follow everything exactly in the order, just based on when things are available and stuff like that. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to look at, okay, if I know, like, I'm just not going to be able to get to this specific one tonight. All right, what can I swap in just to make sure that I'm, hitting in the right, uh, whether it's just to be back or biceps or whatever, whatever the case may
Right.
be. I'm still hitting it, still swapping in. I guess I know some of that may be specific to particular lifts, but I guess from your perspective, is it fine just to say, hey, as long as we're hitting that particular muscle type and we're still doing, uh, from a intensity standpoint where you need to be at, does that seem to be okay?
Ryan, that's an awesome question. So I heard a couple different things in there. I think the first thing I want to point out is if, like, let's say time's not really an issue, but you're in the gym and like there's certain equipment taken, or like the issue at hand is like the order of it. So I want to address that one first. I know that one's a super common thing that guys run into, or girls run into. I shouldn't say guys. When I think guys, I think gender neutral. I don't know why, but anyways, what people think of. So the answer to that is your program will always be in a general flow of like, hey, this is the order it, like, best case scenario it's going to go in, right? So that's a given. It's, we don't just like sporadically swap workouts in there. Usually your how it'll work is like there may or may not be some type of warm up movement, but then those first or second movements are usually like your compound movements. So whether it's like a back squat or a bench press, and more likely than not, that is like the one movement where it's like we're really focused on this. We really want to work on getting stronger with this. That is where a lot of your success will come from. Generally speaking, after that movement or after those two movements, it's followed by a few accessory movements where the importance is, while it's everything's important, the importance is less. So if you like are strapped for time, I would always recommend get the first couple things done, really put a lot of energy and effort into that. If you have to shave something off the last exercise or two, it happens. Now, I'm not recommending like doing that if you had all the time in the world and you're just like, well, Trevor says it's not important. That's not what I'm saying, right? But if you're low on time, that's an awesome way. Hit these first. As far as like swapping things out, whether it's like, I like literally can't get access to this, or I waited around and it's just like somebody's not getting off this machine or whatever, maybe, and I just can't get it. A couple things there. So I know a lot of our clients, as they go through this, and I think the wheels start turning when they're like, okay, I can tell this is similar to this is similar to this. Like if you're doing a barbell bench press, it's not going to be wildly dissimilar to do that same movement with dumbbells, right? And it's going to be still similar in some sense to do that same movement with machine or with bands or with cables, right? So if you have to swap, never the end of the world. There is an option in the app. So if you, I don't want to, I don't know if you can do it on the web. I wish I could screen record my phone, but when you open up your workout, you can actually, there's a feature where you can swap the exercise and it'll just swap in a like exercise. That's a feature I've had a couple of guys tell me that they like absolutely love and they utilize. So next time you're in a bind, check that out. That might be something cool. So Ryan, did that answer your question? I feel like I kind of rambled there for a minute.
No, yeah, that's helpful. I did kind of, like I said, getting started now with the second week of it, figured out after going through the first one. Yeah, the first two seem to be, in terms of just overall intensity, seem to be, um, at least for me, more the most difficult, which obviously means probably some level of importance there. So that's why, kind
Yeah.
of yesterday as I was going through, I'm like, all right, I know I need to find a way to just like shoehorn in a couple of minutes on the bench as early as I can in the workout. Ended up being second in line for that one yesterday. I'm
Awesome.
like, at least it's better than, being the last one that it was the week prior. But no,
Totally.
I think that's helpful. And especially in terms of just priority there, making sure that I really get to those first, but then also that I'll have to look for the swap feature because that will maybe.
Yeah, I just saw in the
B.
chat, Christian said I had the same issue with after work rush, and the substitute button became my best friend. So I think that is what it's called. I think that the term is substitute on there. I'll see if I can dig up some screenshots. It may be hard for me. It's something that it drives me nuts. But so the app that I have is like the coaching version of it. So I don't have the client facing app. So I can't like always see the exact same things. Now I know the app pretty dang well. I know the ins and outs of it, but I like can't get in and like get a screenshot for you. So I a lot of times I just end up like looking for support articles. But Christian, I don't know if you're able to, and maybe when I bring you on, you can kind of mention exactly where that is. I wish I could share one of our screens and show you. But Ryan, I think you're spot on. I mean, if it's the first exercise listed and it ends up being the second or third, never the end of the world, right? But the reason those are first or second or third is we want you to put your best energy into that, because inevitably if you're in the gym for say 45 minutes, your best energy is going to come right when you're there. You're slowly putting energy into things and you're losing energy. So if your most important movement was at minute 45, it's not going to get the energy it deserves. So just food for thought. It's at the end of the day, if you get in, you show up, you're consistently putting in work, we're splitting hairs right now. But as you progress and as you really work on adding muscle, sometimes splitting hairs is what makes that difference. So